Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with Tom Stillwell, a karate instructor with a dojo in Los Angeles, where he teaches the martial arts to young people, including his son Jason. The boy knocks down one of his dojo partners, and his father reminds him of the rules of karate, according to which he should not use violence to attack. Later, Tom is approached by a group of gangsters, who want to take over all the dojos in the country, and invite him to join their organization. Tom refuses, which irritates the man in the suit, who orders one of his henchmen to beat him up. Despite his belief that karate should never be used for violence, Tom defends himself and beats his opponent, while his students watch the scene. However, one of the gang members, Ivan Krushinsky, interferes and breaks Tom's leg. His son, Jason, gets enraged, and tries to attack Ivan, but is stopped. Tom calls him and tells him that violence will not solve anything. While being treated in the hospital for his wound, Tom knows that he may not be able to stand up to the gang for long, and chooses to move his family out of harm's way. The family decides to travel to a quiet neighborhood in Seattle. Jason begins unloading the family's belongings, and it is here that he meets R.J. Madison, who immediately befriends him while he helps unload the family's things. Jason, being a die-hard devotee of Bruce Lee, decorates his garage with many posters of the icon as well as his training equipment. As they install the equipment, R.J. shows off his dancing skills. When the boy learns that Jason does karate, he promises to take him to the city dojo. Although they have recently moved into the new house, Jason sets to work and begins training in the garage, to one day become as strong as Bruce Lee. The next day, we meet his neighbor, a slacker named Scott. When RJ walks past his house, Scott tries to beat him up for befriending Jason. RJ bites him and runs away. He then catches up with Jason in his driveway, and accompanies him to Bruce Lee's grave, where Jason pays tribute to his idol, and asks him to give him the courage to fight for what he believes is right. At a fast food restaurant, Scott eats lunch with his friends. He spots RJ, and goes outside with his friends to bully him. RJ tries to escape, but is soon surrounded, but fortunately, at that moment, Jason also arrives. He intervenes and rescues his friend. However, as soon as he arrives home, Tom scolds him for getting involved in the fight, as he believes it would get him into trouble. Jason tries to convince his father that he only did it to help his friend, but Tom does not listen to him, and the boy storms off. He then fires out all his anger on the punching bag in his garage. One day, RJ and Jason are watching the national championship final on TV, when a guy from Seattle, Ian Riley, wins. RJ mentions the dojo again, and promises to take Jason there. The next day, the two go to the dojo, where Jason fills out an application to join. Dean Ramsey introduces himself as his instructor, and gives a short tour of the dojo. He tells him to get ready for the training that will begin in 10 minutes. Scott approaches Dean, and lies to him that Jason has been mocking the Seattle Karate Dojo. Furthermore, he tells him that Jason beat him up outside unfairly. Hearing this, Dean tells Frank, a black belt, to prepare for a fight against Jason. When he arrives, Dean asks him to show what he can do against Frank. Jason reluctantly starts the fight after being challenged, but he has no chance against a black belt, while he is still a red belt. Frank dominates and beats Jason repeatedly, but the latter does not intend to give up. When the situation gets out of hand, RJ intervenes by saving him from Frank, and giving him time to escape the club, while everyone laughs. At the birthday of one of Kelly's girlfriends, Ian Riley's sister, Dean is constantly hitting on her, but she is completely uninterested in him. Riley returns from the tournament and greets his sister on her birthday, and is called into the house on a phone call. Someone tells him to go to his dojo now if he wants to keep it. Ian meets Jason, who has just arrived at the party. Jason had met Kelly in Los Angeles, and gifts her a cute bunny for her birthday. Jason kisses Kelly, while Scott and Dean see everything. Dean becomes enraged, and wants to beat him up, but Scott stops him, explaining that he has a different strategy. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the same group that stole the dojo from Tom in Los Angeles is now at Riley's dojo, demanding that he give it to them. After Ian refuses, they threaten to hurt his sister and inform him that if he does not cooperate, something dangerous will happen. At the party, when Kelly introduces Jason to her friends, Dean pretends to be her lover, and kisses her in public. Dean approaches Jason after his friends take her away, warning him to stay away, because he doesn't want her to date anyone but him. Scott throws food at Jason, and the latter shouts at Dean to leave him alone. Nevertheless, Dean humiliates him in front of everyone, and Jason also argues with Kelly when she comes out to talk to him. He leaves the party, and then returns to Bruce Lee's grave. He explains that everyone is trying to intimidate him, and asks for help. When he returns home, his father is there waiting for him to talk about all the complaints he has received about his son's fighting. The two have another furious confrontation, but Jason calls him a coward for leaving, instead of confronting the criminals. Angry and hurt by these remarks, Tom destroys the garage, smashes Bruce Lee's photographs, and Jason runs away from home. He goes to RJ's house, where, after learning about the garage, he learns of an abandoned house where he can move his belongings. After moving his training equipment into the house, he thanks RJ for always being there for him. RJ leaves, as he collapses on the floor from exhaustion. Soon after, he is awakened by the ghost of Bruce Lee, who informs him that he has come at his request. Bruce Lee's ghost offers to train him. The first instruction is that he must be psychologically strong to fight his enemies. Bruce Lee emphasizes that he must use the techniques he will teach him only to defend himself, and not hurt others. Lee's sensei shows him how to fight, and tells him to keep the element of surprise to get the upper hand on his opponents. Jason resumes training the next morning under Lee's supervision, who encourages him to stop being impulsive, and be focused, if he wants to improve his techniques. Despite being injured several times, he has no intention of giving up. Next, Bruce Lee takes him to a room with punching bags filled with sand. The sensei says that these are his opponents, and he must concentrate on dodging their blows. As he continues to train, RJ attends the lessons, but cannot see Lee. One night, Bruce Lee teaches Jason how to fight with a stuck leg. The boy tries and tries again, but it is harder than it looks. Meanwhile, Tom, who now works at a nearby restaurant, is teased by an arrogant customer. Although Tom initially tries to keep his cool, when he crosses the line, the man is kicked out of the restaurant. As Jason gets better at training, Bruce Lee decides all of a sudden that his job is done, and leaves. Jason is disappointed that he left without warning, but he tries to focus on training and getting better, while RJ stays with him. One day, when Jason and his mother come home from the supermarket, she asks him to pick up his father from work. Tom leaves the restaurant, and is attacked by the arrogant customer who brought his friends. Tom is violently beaten, and at that moment, his son arrives in the car. Jason gets out of the car, and runs to defend his distressed father. Thanks to Jason's new and improved fighting skills, he defeats them all effortlessly. After beating them one by one, he forces them to flee. When he reminds his father that there are times when fighting is necessary, Tom realizes that his son has been right all along, and the two reconcile. Later, Jason and RJ go to a party at a club. Inside, they see Kelly, but Jason refuses to talk to her. RJ decides to intervene to give him a chance, and together with his friends, invite Jason and Kelly to the dance floor to chat. Jason apologizes for being disrespectful during the party, and the two make amends. A few days later, the leader of the criminal gang and his men arrive in Seattle, to take over the dojo. After the tournament's traditional full-contact kickboxing match, the Seattle Sidekicks and the visiting Manhattan Maulers get ready to fight. After a formal introduction of both teams, which is how the tournament organizers intend to begin, a member of the mob takes the stage, and says that they have changed the lineup, and that Ivan Krushinsky will fight all Seattle fighters. Soon after, Jason, Tom and RJ arrive at the arena. Jason already knows how strong Ivan is, since he is the one who broke his father's leg, and tries to warn Ian and his team, but they are sure they can beat him, so they don't pay attention to what he says. Dean enters the ring for the first round, but Ivan dodges all his blows, and then hits him with his foot in the stomach. Dean falls and gets up after 7 seconds, but is immediately knocked down by Ivan, knocking him out of the ring, winning the first round. Frank, who had previously fought Jason in the dojo, shows up in the second round. Ivan notices the fear in his eyes, and is already confident of winning. In fact, Ivan dominates throughout the fight, and knocks his opponent down numerous times. Frank refuses to surrender, nevertheless, he is easily defeated. The mob boss then tells them, to their surprise, that even though they have already won the first 2 matches, whoever wins the third match will be the tournament winner. Ian, the national champion, faces Ivan in the final round. Ian fights hard, and proves that he is the only one who can stand up to Ivan. He manages to win the first round, and Ivan becomes enraged, so during the second round, he starts to break the rules. When the referee gives him warnings, Ivan hits him, causing him to fly out of the ring. He locks Ian in the corner of the ring, and uses illegal tactics to win. Scott tries to stop Ivan by grabbing his foot, but gets hit. Then Kelly rushes in to save her brother with a stool, but Ivan grabs her by the hair. This enrages Jason, who gets into the ring, and starts beating Ivan up, drawing cheers from the audience. Ivan realizes that he met him in the Los Angeles dojo, and compliments him. Jason says he has been training, and then a challenging fight follows for both of them. Ivan begins to prevail over his opponent, But Jason remembers the principles he learned from Bruce Lee, and puts them into action. He defeats Ivan, and everyone stands up to applaud him for standing up to the gang. The gang is finally forced to leave Seattle, and the audience happily celebrates their victory, earning Jason respect of his peers and family. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.